What if you stopped eating for 48 hours straight? No snacks, no calories, just water. Most people think the body immediately goes into danger mode. But that's not what actually happens. Would your system panic? Shut down? Start burning muscle? Or flip into a completely different metabolic state most people never reach? Because hidden between hour 12 and hour 36, a metabolic shift begins, powerful, measurable, and widely misunderstood. And depending on your body, your habits, and your hormones, it can either work for you or against you. Today, we're going hour by hour through a full 48-hour fast. What changes, what feels strange, what turns off, what turns on, and the moment fat truly takes control as fuel. By the end, you'll understand why two people can fast the same length and get opposite results. Quick question before we start. Do you think the hardest part is the first 12 hours or the second 24? Comment your guess, 12 or 24. And if you want more deep, no-hype breakdowns like this, hit subscribe now because the next experiment goes even further. Pay attention to hour 18, hour 24, and hour 36. Those are the three metabolic turning points most people misunderstand. Let's start at the moment your last meal ends. You've just eaten. Your body is not in fat-burning mode. Not even close. Insulin rises. Glucose enters your bloodstream. Your cells are told one thing: store energy, don't burn it. Fat burning is temporarily paused. Even if the meal was healthy, even if it was small, your liver begins storing glycogen, your short-term fuel reserve. Think of it as your metabolic battery pack. Right now, hunger is low. Energy is stable. Nothing dramatic. But the clock is running. Food is mostly digested now. Blood sugar begins to fall. Insulin starts dropping. Glycogen becomes the primary fuel source. This is where many people think fat burning begins. Not yet. Your body prefers glycogen because it's faster and easier to use, like spending cash before touching savings. You may feel the first light hunger signals here, but they are habit signals, not energy emergencies. Important detail: hunger comes in waves, not a straight line. If you don't respond immediately, it often fades. Most people never notice this because they always eat when the first signal appears. Now things begin to shift. Insulin is low enough that fat release is no longer blocked. Not maximized, but no longer blocked. Your body starts blending fuels. Remaining glycogen. Small amounts of fat. This is the crossover phase. You may feel a mild stomach growling, slight drop in focus, a habitual craving. This is where many fasts end, not from danger, but from discomfort. But metabolically, the interesting part hasn't started yet. Quick question for you. When you feel hunger, is it physical or just timing and habit? Comment. Wave if your hunger comes and goes. Comment. Constant if it feels nonstop. Let's continue. This is the phase most intermittent fasting plans are built around. Insulin is now low and stable. Fat mobilization increases. Stored triglycerides are broken into fatty acids. Your liver starts producing ketones, alternative fuel molecules made from fat. Not at peak levels but rising. This is the first true fat-supported energy phase. Many people report clearer thinking, steadier energy, reduced appetite, which surprises them because they expected the opposite. Why? Because stable fuel beats spiking fuel. This is a psychological checkpoint. Ghrelin, your hunger hormone, spikes based on your usual meal schedule, not actual energy shortage. Meaning, if you normally eat at this time, hunger rises. If you wait, it drops again. This is one of the biggest fasting secrets. Hunger is often a clock signal, not a fuel signal. If you pass this wave, the next phase becomes much easier. Now glycogen stores are significantly reduced. Fat contribution rises sharply. Ketone production increases further. Your metabolic flexibility, your ability to switch fuels, is now being tested. People with high sugar dependency feel irritability, brain fog, cravings. Metabolically flexible people feel stable, focused, calm. Same fast, different internal state. This is why results vary between people. And now we reach hour 24, the most misunderstood point of a 48-hour fast. Because this is where people say, now you're starving. But physiologically, something very different is happening. At 24 hours, fat oxidation is high. Ketones are meaningfully elevated. Insulin is very low. Glucagon is dominant. Your body is no longer waiting for food. It is adapting to no food. There's a difference. Stress hormones rise slightly, but in healthy individuals, this actually helps maintain alertness and blood sugar stability. This is why many fasters report a strange effect. Energy returns. Not from food, from chemistry. If you had to choose, could you go 24 hours without food right now? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. We're only halfway, and the most powerful changes happen between hour 30 and 48. Now deeper processes begin signaling. Autophagy, your cellular recycling system, increases activity. Old proteins are broken down. Damaged components are targeted. Efficiency improves. Think of it like internal housekeeping. Not magic. Not instant, but real. Meanwhile, inflammation signals often decrease. Insulin sensitivity improves. Fat becomes the dominant fuel. Hunger usually decreases here, not increases. Unexpected but commonly reported. But hour 36 is where the experience splits into two completely different paths, depending on preparation, body composition, and metabolic health. And that's where myths start falling apart. This is where the experience splits. Two people can reach hour 30 and feel completely different. Person A, a metabolically flexible, lower insulin resistance, used to fasting occasionally. Person B, a high sugar intake, frequent snacking habits, insulin resistant, same hours, different internal environment. By now, glycogen is largely depleted. Fatty acids are the primary fuel. Ketones are significantly elevated. The brain, which usually prefers glucose, is now comfortably using ketones for a large percentage of its energy. This is why some people report a sharp mental clarity, reduced anxiety, stable focus, and others report irritability, headaches, fatigue. The difference is not the fast. It's metabolic conditioning. Here's where most people panic. At this point, aren't you burning muscle? Short answer, not aggressively. Long answer, your body is not careless. It doesn't immediately start dismantling muscle tissue when fat is available. Growth hormone increases during fasting. Why? To preserve lean tissue and maintain fat mobilization. Yes, some protein turnover happens. It always does. But the idea that a 36-hour fast equals massive muscle loss is physiologically exaggerated, especially if protein intake is adequate outside fasting windows. A resistance training is part of lifestyle. Overall calories are not chronically low. Context matters. This is where the body fully commits to fat-based metabolism. Ketones are high. Insulin is suppressed. Fat oxidation is dominant. Hunger often drops significantly here. That surprises people. Because biologically, your system has stabilized around a new fuel source. The first 18 hours were transition. Now you're adapted. Be honest. Which hour sounds hardest to you so far? 12, 24, or 36? Comment the number. Most people guess wrong. Now things are steady. Energy is coming primarily from stored fat, ketones, a minimal gluconeogenesis, glucose created internally. Your body is not in shutdown mode. It is in conservation mode. Metabolic rate does not immediately crash during short-term fasting. In fact, short fasts can slightly increase adrenaline and noradrenaline, helping maintain alertness. This is evolutionary logic. If humans became sluggish after missing one day of food, survival would have been unlikely. Instead, the body increases drive and awareness temporarily. Around this range, cellular repair pathways are elevated compared to fed states. Autophagy, the process of clearing damaged cellular components, is more active when nutrients are scarce. But here's what's important. It's not a switch that flips on at hour 36 like magic. It's a gradual increase over time, and its magnitude varies by a metabolic health, prior diet, age, stress levels. So avoid extreme claims. It's real but not mystical. At this stage, fat is dominant fuel. Ketones are substantial. Insulin is minimal. Blood sugar is maintained internally, not through eating, but through regulation. For many people, hunger is lower now than it was at hour 16. Why? Because ghrelin, the hunger hormone, follows rhythm. Spikes and falls. It does not rise infinitely. Your body has adjusted to the absence of incoming food. So after 48 hours, did you starve? No. Starvation is prolonged nutrient deprivation over extended time, not 48 hours in a healthy adult. What happened instead was fuel switching, hormonal recalibration, temporary metabolic adaptation. But that does not mean it's necessary for everyone. A 48-hour fast is not appropriate for individuals with a history of eating disorders, pregnant or breastfeeding women, people with uncontrolled diabetes, individuals on glucose-lowering medications, those with certain medical conditions, anyone under medical supervision for chronic illness. Longer fasting should always be approached cautiously and, ideally, with medical guidance. This video explains physiology, not prescribing behavior. Here's what most people miss. The benefit of a 48-hour fast is not just the 48 hours. It's what it teaches your metabolism. It reveals, are you metabolically flexible or metabolically dependent? Do you panic at hunger waves or adapt through them? Two people can finish 48 hours and one feels empowered, one feels depleted. The difference isn't willpower, it's metabolic conditioning. Remember, the key turning points were simple. Hour 18, hunger is rhythm. Hour 24, adaptation starts. Hour 36, fat burning stabilizes. Before that is transition. After that is efficiency. If you were to try this safely, would you start with 24 hours or go for 48? Comment 24 or 48. I read every comment. If this changed how you see fasting, subscribe now. Next video breaks down the 72-hour fast and where benefits start to level off. No hype, no fear, just physiology.